And he's testimony number 1.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Good afternoon, sir. All right, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Jason Becker.
How old are you?
I am 36 years old.
Do you live in the area?
I do. I live in Canton.
Tell us a little bit about your education.
My education, high school and college UMass. And I went to EMT school a little over 10 years ago and paramedic school.
Tell me a little bit about EMT school. How old were you when you started EMT school?
When I started EMT school, roughly 21 years old.
Why did you decide to go to EMT school?
Wanted to save some lives.
Tell us a little bit about EMT school. What did it require?
EMT school was a couple months of classroom stuff, and then you do some ride time on the ambulance. Paramedic school is a little different. It's about a little extended, 2 years worth of training. You're doing hospital, ER time, and ambulance time also.
How long did you serve as an EMT before you went to paramedic school?
I worked as an EMT for approximately 5 years.
Can you estimate how many dozens or hundreds of calls you were on during that time?
Hundreds.
Why did you decide then to go get paramedic training?
Oh, I wanted to be on the fire department, and it was a prerequisite.
Did you complete paramedic school successfully?
I did.
Were you still working as an EMT at the time?
I was.
And inevitably, did you seek to have a different job? Did you try to be a firefighter?
I wanted to be a firefighter, correct.
Were you successful in doing that?
I was.
Tell us a little bit about that, sir.
On the Canton Fire Department. So I got on the Canton Fire Department, and then they send you to the fire academy, where you train to be a firefighter.
So you had EMT training, paramedic training, and then firefighter training?
That's correct.
On the Canton Police Department, did you serve dual roles as a paramedic and as a firefighter?
Fire department?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Firefighter and as a paramedic.
You served as a firefighter and a paramedic?
Correct.
In the Canton Fire Department, does it have more than one station?
There is. There's two.
Is there one station that's larger or smaller than the other?
Station 1 is the headquarters, which is larger.
Had you ever spent time at Station 1 as a firefighter or a paramedic?
I have. We rotate to both stations.
I want you to take us back to January 29th, 2022. Were you working that evening?
I was.
What station were you assigned to?
Canton Station 2.
Canton Fire Station 2?
Correct.
And that's the smaller of the two stations?
It is.
Were you working with anybody at Fire Station 2 that night?
My ambulance partner at the time was firefighter Dan Whitley.
Was there anybody else who was working at Fire Station 2 in addition to you and Dan Whitley?
Correct. There was an engine company with 3 guys on it.
3 people were assigned to
The engine, correct.
Were you and Dan Whitley assigned as partners for the day, the week?
Correct. Yes, we were.
The month
was
or
it, the
even
day or
your
the week,
year.
sir?
The week.
So for the entire week, you're partners with a person, and does that rotate on other assignments?
It does. It rotates.
So on this particular week, you were assigned as partners with Dan Whitley.
I was.
What were your roles between the two of you?
Preceptor. I was a new paramedic at the time. So I was more or less the lead tech on all the calls as part of my training. And Dan's been a paramedic for a long time. So he was there to teach me.
So would Dan Whitley be the lead on the call and he would help you?
I would be the lead.
You would be the lead.
Correct.
Did you get a call that early morning hours of January 29, 2022?
We did.
What was the call assigned for?
It was a call for Section 12 psych eval.
Very briefly, can you tell us what a Section 12 is?
Sure. It's a transportation order filled out by police, doctor, basically for us on the ambulance that we have to take the patient, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, because they're a threat to themselves or someone else.
When you received the call for Section 12, were you aware that there were other calls that Fire Station 1 had responded to that morning?
We were aware. You can hear the calls going out each station.
Were you or Dan Whitley any part of that earlier call that Fire Station 1 responded to before you got the call for the Section 12?
We were not.
So your efforts were after?
We were after, correct.
After you got the call to respond to a Section 12, did you head towards Fairview Road?
We did.
Tell us a little bit about the trip to Fairview Road.
It was a little extended because of the weather conditions at the time. Snowing heavily, windy, low visibility.
Okay. How long did it take to get from Fire Station 2 to Fairview Road?
Approximately 8 to 10 minutes.
Who drove?
Firefighter Whitley.
Now, on the way to Fairview Road, do you sit in the front of the ambulance?
We do.
Take us to when you arrived to Fairview Road. What do you see?
You see a bunch of police lights.
No.
Canton Engine 3 was already on scene, so we parked behind them.
Did you have it, without talking about what you spoke about, did you have a chance to speak to anybody at the scene?
We briefly spoke to the Canton police, and they briefed us and sent us to where the defendant was at the time.
Why do you have a conversation with other first responders at the scene before you do anything?
They're making sure the scene is safe to begin with, and they're unseen first, so they have a little more info than what our dispatch would have.
After you had that debriefing with colleagues, were you directed to approach any certain person?
I was.
Where did you go?
I went to the defendant, who was sitting in a black SUV type car.
Were there other persons inside the car with the defendant?
From my understanding, it was one person in the driver's seat.
And what seat was the defendant in?
She was in the front passenger seat.
Did you have a chance to speak to her?
I did.
And the person you spoke to who was in the passenger seat of that car, do you see that person in court today?
I do.
Could you point out and describe an article of clothing, please?
Yes.
Mr.
Next
Reed
to Alan
she's,
Jackson,
the blue,
blonde hair.
navy blue.
How long was your conversation with the defendant while she was still seated inside the vehicle?
Approximately 5 to 8 minutes.
At some point, did you and the defendant move to another location?
We did.
Where did you go?
So we went back in the ambulance.
After having a conversation with her, was she cooperative going back to the ambulance with you?
She was.
And did you ask her to be seated in the ambulance?
I did.
She cooperative with that as well?
She
Get
was.
the fuck
After she was
down.
seated in the ambulance, did you close the doors and get in?
We did.
When you say we, who was with you?
Me and firefighter Whitley.
So you and firefighter Whitley were in the back of the ambulance with Miss Reed. Who was going to drive the ambulance?
Firefighter Sam Park.
Where did he come from?
He was on the fire engine that was already on scene.
I want to ask you questions now about what you did in the back of the ambulance and some of the conversations that you had.
Well,
Tell
that's
us what your role
classified.
is once you have a patient in the back of the ambulance. What do you do next?
Each patient's different, depends on what the call is for. In this
Bag them.
specific situation, it was more a psych eval, because that's what we're called for. Initial triage questions: is the patient cooperative, uncooperative, combative? I asked her name,
Oriented.
her mental status, where she was. I asked her if she was suicidal, and if she was, did she have a plan? Did she want to hurt anyone else? Those are kind of the initial triage questions that I would ask.
Why do you ask those questions?
Just to get a...
In Australia, to call what's called the CAT team over here, it's called Crisis Assessment Team for Mental Health, where the ambulance, they actually do a phone interview with you first, if you call them, to ask about what's going on and blah, 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 blah. If that person has not made a plan to do said self-deleting, they don't come. Yep.
That's dumb.
Yep. Shit, I not you. Because I've called it before. Yeah, they're dumb. But mental health is a massive loophole in every country. I think it is just...
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm thinking at this point, it's nearly as bad as disability. Just quietly. No, fuck that noisily.
kind of a judgment on the patient, reading the patient.
What's your role at that point? Are you an investigator?
I'm not.
Are you in any way law enforcement?
I'm not.
So what's your focus when you're speaking to a patient?
It's basically hearing them speak, hearing their story. In this specific situation, we didn't know circumstances. We just knew that Miss Reed had found her husband, which she was calling dead on the side of the road. So it was a traumatic call.
So when you were there, you knew nothing about what had happened before you got there?
We did not.
And your role had nothing to do with any of that investigation?
We did not.
You were solely focused on caring for the patient?
Correct.
Did you have any other role other than caring for the patient?
Just making sure she got to the hospital safely. She didn't hurt herself.
During those conversations, are you and firefighter Whitley doing the same thing or different things?
Again, it depends on the call. I was the lead tech, so I'm the one documented, giving a report to the nurses, the staff.
Wow.
So I was more kind of getting that information, my initial triage questions, and then just kind of sat and supported Miss Reed. And
were you writing down information, technical information about status and health on a report?
I was, yes.
While you were doing that, was your colleague speaking to Miss Reed?
He was.
Did you have a chance at times to hear what they were speaking about?
Yeah, and no.
At other times, did you speak directly to Miss Reed?
I have.
Can you describe her demeanor or temperament?
Initially, she was agitated because she didn't feel like she needed to go to the hospital. She said the statement she made, she didn't mean. She just kind of said it in jest because of the events that she went through. So but then there'd be periods of which she'd be calm, and it would fluctuate. She would have like pressured speech, repetitive, but all in all, she was cooperative.
At some point, did
Has
you
she
have
got
a chance
any mental health
to speak
diagnosis?
to her directly
Obviously,
her
anxiety, but
About her mood,
about her mood?
I don't know if I understand the question.
Okay. Did she say anything to you about her last interaction with what she referred to as her husband?
Sustained.
Did she make any statements to you when you were giving her treatment or speaking to her
about
about
John
her
Ricky.
husband?
I'll allow that. It came in.
One of the reasons why she was saying suicidal stuff is because the last conversation she had with her husband at the time was an argument. I didn't feel like it was my role to really find out the details on what was said. But that's what she said to me.
That the last thing she said to him was an argument?
Yep.
Sustained.
Did she tell you what the argument was about?
She did not.
Inevitably, did you get a chance to bring her to the hospital?
We did.
Did you stay in the back of the ambulance with her?
I did.
Did you continue to have conversations with her?
Yes, I did.
Did you hear conversations or parts of conversations she was having with your colleague?
I had parts.
When you got to the hospital, what happens next?
So we brought Miss Reed into the hospital, registered her, bring her to the psychiatric section. Is it?
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Jackson?
Thank you.
She must have some form of actual medical diagnosis, mental health, surely, to be sectioned that quickly with her mother.
Can I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Firefighter Becker.
Good afternoon.
When you first arrived at the scene, there was at least two Canton police officers there still.
Correct.
Do you remember their names?
Officer Saraf and Officer Mulvaney.
Okay. Their cruiser was there. You said that an engine was still there?
Correct.
And was there another ambulance there, or the other ambulance had already left the scene? They'd cleared?
They had already transported. to
Okay,
the hospital.
And remind me, you were in ambulance two?
Two.
Or-
I was ambulance 2.
Got it. You parked behind the SUV where you ultimately made contact with Miss Reed, correct?
I think it was more in front of the SUV because the way the SUV was parked.
Got it. Got out of the ambulance, ultimately made contact with Miss Reed through the passenger door,
Correct.
had a short conversation with her there.
I did.
You said it was maybe 5 to 8 minutes?
More like 5 minutes because of the weather conditions.
Okay, nothing of great consequence. I'm guessing just an initial, I think you called it sort of a triage assessment?
Well, it's more of just introducing myself and asking her how she was doing.
Got it. And then there was one other person in the cab of the vehicle as well.
There was.
Female, male.
Female.
So there are 2 females, one Miss Reed, one another female. Did you see any other civilian females out there?
I didn't see.
Okay,
But-
so at least where you were, the contact that you had with Miss Reed and this other
real?
female, there was just 2 of them, not a third one.
From what I saw, correct.
Did you get the other female's name?
Not at the time, I did not.
Okay. By the way, have you since gotten her name?
Based on a conversation Firefighter Whitley and Miss Reed had back in the ambulance.
Got it. Okay. And who is that other person?
Miss Carrie Roberts.
Okay. When you first observed Miss Reed, did you note whether or not there was anything unusual about her physical appearance, meaning anything on her?
She did, yes.
Describe that for the jurors, please.
She had some blood around her mouth, her neck area.
At that point, were you concerned about, obviously, you're concerned mainly about her safety and getting her safely to the hospital, correct?
That's correct.
Were you worried that that might be her blood?
She had said that she had given CPR to her husband.
Okay. You jumped a question ahead. I was going to say, did she tell you that it was, in fact, not her blood?
She did. So that kind of, in a way, ruled it out.
Okay.
No injury for me.
And you didn't indicate, you didn't notice anything about her that looked like she was physically injured or physically in harm?
I did not.
Okay. She indicated that she had given CPR, mouth-to-mouth, attempts at mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
She did.
And that would account for the blood on her face and in her hair and on her neck?
That's what she told me.
Okay. And based on your observations of her, you didn't have any reason to quarrel with that?
Correct.
Okay. You indicated that her tone was somewhat rapid and repetitive. Is that right?
It fluctuated. So at times it was, yes.
Did it appear to you at that time that she had gone through a pretty significant trauma as best you were trained at the time?
Objection.
A little bit more of a foundation, I'll give it to you.
Sure. Have you ever, in your course of training, seen individuals who have gone through some sort of a traumatic event?
Frequently.
Frequently.
Everyone's different, though.
Understood. Obviously, everybody's got their own personalities and the way of dealing with those things, right?
Sure.
Have you been able to, through your training, assess whether, at least in your belief, your observations, if someone has gone through a relatively traumatic event, as opposed to just someone whistling down the sidewalk?
Yes.
Okay. Did it appear at that time when you're interacting with Miss Reed that she was showing the signs consistent of having gone through a trauma?
At the time, yes.
Okay. So hence the rapid speech, the repetitive speech, things of that nature?
Correct. For her. For the defendant, some people don't have repetitive
Understood.
speech.
I'm just talking about your observations of her at that time.
Yes, sir.
Her demeanor was consistent with having gone through a significant trauma.
For the situation, sure. Yes.
Okay. You said that she went from calmness to agitation. The agitation you accounted for being, I don't necessarily want to go to the hospital. I don't want to be sectioned, correct?
She felt like she didn't need to. It wasn't, she wasn't going to act on her comments about wanting to harm herself.
You called it, I think in a report, it's SI, suicidal ideation.
Correct.
That's obviously of great concern to you and your partners when you're assessing a patient, correct?
That's right.
You don't want to leave someone on their own if they're going to self-harm, correct?
That's correct.
You pretty quickly assessed, I'm guessing, Firefighter Becker, that she was not, in fact, in the position to self-harm, that I think you said that the statements that she originally made, if John dies, I don't want to live, were not necessarily at the level of actual suicidal ideation. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, at the time I believed her because of the information we got and what she went through.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand your answer.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Of
I just
course.
yeah.
It's probably my fault. At the time that you assessed her, even though she had made some comments about if John doesn't live, I don't want to live either, you did not elevate that to the level of her being suicidal at that moment.
So I couldn't rule it out, but
Okay.
you know, we
You got a duty of care.
I didn't think it was a huge threat at the time.
Understood.
But
That's
we
what I was trying to get at.
couldn't rule it out, so that's why we had to take her to the hospital.
Understood. I mean, you had a section 12. You had to take her irrespective of what you ruled in or out, right?
Right.
Okay. Firefighter Whitley was with you in the back of the ambulance the entire time you were with Miss Reed, correct?
Not the entire time. He was before we decided transporting. He was kind of in and out, trying to find more of, talking to the police officers, find more of a story of, what happened,
Okay.
why we're taking the defendant on a section 12.
Once you and Miss Reed were in the back of the ambulance, Firefighter Whitley then joined you in the back of the ambulance?
He did.
How much time lapsed?
It was a couple minutes at the most.
Okay, so it wasn't a lengthy amount of time.
It wasn't lengthy.
And he was with you during the transport, along with Miss Reed, for the whole transport back to Good Sam.
It's a good, yes,
And you said on direct examination, I think your phrase was, all in all, she was cooperative with us.
for the majority of the transport, yes.
Okay. Never became combative, never got physical, nothing like that.
No,
Okay. She did refer to Mr. O'Keefe as her husband or her spouse.
that's correct.
You're aware of HIPAA rules, obviously. You're in the medical field, correct?
Correct.
You're aware at the time that HIPAA rules would demand or dictate that unless you're a spouse or a parent or a child, there are certain rules against getting or providing information to someone who isn't one of those close family members, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You previously indicated on direct examination that, I think your words were, that Ms. Reed indicated that her last conversation she had with her husband was an argument, correct?
Correct.
You've previously testified about that statement in other particulars, right? Other hearings.
I have.
You're paraphrasing. You didn't write down what she said about her previous interactions with Mr. O'Keefe, and you didn't record those on a tape recorder, correct?
I wrote down in my report that she said she had an argument.
Right. You didn't write them down at the time. That was a bad question on my part. You weren't taking notes as she was speaking.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, it's kind of for every call, we jot down notes on a notepad, just
Okay.
so, when we give the staff a report, we can read off it.
Do you have those notes?
I don't.
Okay. Do you think you took notes or no?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I could have been typing them on the computer. That's what we typed the report on
Okay.
at the time.
Do you have an independent recollection of taking notes, either handwritten or on a computer as you sit here right now?
I couldn't tell you if I did one or the other. Sometimes
Okay.
I write on the computer, sometimes I don't.
Or you might not have written anything down, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So in any event,
And you
weren't
wonder where
taking
conspiracy
down-
theories
you weren't
come
taking
from,
notes, You weren't taking down verbatim quotes of what she was saying. You were paraphrasing the information that was coming to you, correct?
That's correct.
You had previously said or testified that the last time, let me rephrase that just a little bit. You previously indicated in recounting what it was that Miss Reed actually said to you was something along the lines of she was upset because her last words to him were because of her last words to him being in anger.
I object.
I'm going to allow the question.
Is that correct?
Well, I probably phrased it a little wrongly. The last words, it was the last conversation.
Okay, that wasn't my question. My question is a simple one. In a previous hearing, did you use the phrase her last words to him?
Yes,
were
I
in
did.
anger?
I did.
And that was at a hearing where you're under oath, just like you are now, correct?
Correct.
That was a little closer in time than we are now. It was maybe a year ago, correct?
Correct.
Actually, my mistake. It was about 2.5 years ago. It was a grand jury, correct?
Grand jury was before, yes.
Okay. And the phrase that you used was, and I want to concentrate on that for just a quick second, Firefighter Becker.
Sure.
the phrase that you used at that time was that she said, quote, like her last words to him. She was upset about her, quote, last words to him. Is that right?
I object.
All right, can I see counsel at sidebar, please?
I plowed him. I plowed him. You still awake there, Dan the man?
No, I'm definitely asleep.
Do you want me to finish it off and you can have a break, or?
No, I'm still here.
Huh?
Just none of the testimony today is of real interest, to be honest.
No.
I get why they have to do it, but it's just the boring crap.
The introduction of evidence just gives me the shits. They have to meticulously go through it. They're going to have to go through all those evidence bags again and everything, aren't they?
Yep.
Mm. Mm-hmm. We need to think of something fun to do. Keep us awake.
May I continue, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. When you were recounting the conversation that Ms. Reed indicated that she was upset about, you also indicated, in addition to using the phrase, her last words to him, you also said that it was earlier in the night, correct? They had an argument earlier in the night.
I don't recall.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, take a look at the top paragraph, very, very small print. Let me know when you've refreshed your recollection.
Yes.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
You got it.
When you wrote your report, you had indicated that when she was describing the argument that you testified to on direct, it was about an argument that was, quote, earlier in the night.
Earlier in the night, correct.
Okay. And then you recounted that statement, that same statement in the grand jury later on as at least including, quote, her last words. Is that right?
Her last words.
You were talking about an argument that they had, and then she was upset, and you were paraphrasing her. And one of the things that you paraphrased was, in fact, your statement was she was upset that was like her last words to him, correct?
She said that.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Were you also made aware, did she tell you that her last words to him were in voicemails? Did she say that?
She didn't give any details.
Did you ask her, what were your last words to him?
I did not.
Did she ever say whether or not she believed he ever received her last words to him?
There's no other details than there was no other details other than what she said.
Okay. But she did, when she was having this conversation with you about her last words to him, she did actually take out her phone and show you a bunch of missed calls to him at the same time, didn't she?
She tried to, yes.
Okay. In your mind, did you put two and two together that what she was actually talking about were the missed calls and her being upset about her last words to him, being very angry on those missed calls, those voicemails. Did you put those two things together?
I didn't.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Hey, Mr. Brennan?
So when Ms. Reed told you that she was sad because her last conversation, or her last thing that she had said to him was an argument, did she ever suggest that was in a voicemail?
Objection.
Oh,
Did she ever suggest it was in a voicemail?
She did not.
Did she ever suggest that she didn't actually speak to him, but instead it was some type of message?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Did she ever suggest that?
She did not.
In fact, you wrote a report saying that there was an argument earlier in the night, didn't you?
Objection. Your argument is
Sustained.
You then were interviewed, weren't you? Were you
Yes.
interviewed on February 14th, 2022?
Yes.
And you referred
Are
to
you
the fact that
drinking
she told
Uda?
you there was an argument earlier in the night?
Argument early in the night.
And she was telling you this when you were speaking to her that morning?
Correct. Around 6 a.m. Yes.
And earlier in the night, do you know if she was referring to 12:30
I did not know.
or 12:15
No,
or midnight?
I didn't know the time.
So his answer is he doesn't know.
You testified in the grand jury, and Attorney Jackson just asked you some questions about part of the statement you made to the grand jury when he said, like her last words. Would you like to put that in context of the whole statement you made? Do you remember
Her last words?
Do you remember the entire statement that you made in the grand jury about the statement that was made to you?
I'd have to.
May I approach?
Yes.
This is page 81, lines 1 through 4. Please read it to yourself.
Right here, sir.
1 through 4, please.
Is Teresa still here?
No.
Yes. Right.
Tui lurking.
Now, when you made that statement you were asked about in the grand jury, you didn't just say, like her last words, did you?
No.
How's that?
You explained your memory to the grand jury?
Objection.
Ask him what he told the grand jury.
I'm eating crunchy
The
nut
grand jury,
cornflakes.
do you know, was on April 21st, 2022?
Yes.
Okay, and did you tell the grand jury? So she
Objection.
I'm going to see counsel at sidebar for a second. Please.
Sidebar. Ah, look who's online. Did you just get that notification?
One look at you, and I know that you are an idiot.
Does that actually sound like me? Because I narrated it. It reminds me. No, I'm chewing my peaches. Anyone seen? Is it Kung Pao Enter the Fist or?
May I approach?
Yes.
So I'm showing you that statement that you made. That includes the last words, but there's more to the statement, isn't there?
She was upset.
I'd like you to read
Oh,
your
sorry.
entire
Sure.
statement, 1 through 5. You can read it out loud.
So she was also she was upset also because she said they had, the last time they had talked, she had gotten into an argument. So she was upset that that was like her last words to him.
How fun is it? Oh, really?
So when you were speaking about
I
her
guarantee it was me.
last word to him, were you referring to the argument?
Correct.
It's
You testified again regarding this issue, didn't
it's a piss take of an old Jackie Chan movie. And the Matrix, where the cow comes up and does slow-mo and he's squirting milk out of his udders and stuff. It's really funny. And the baby's got the he's the chosen one, and he's got the special tongue. He goes, it's fucking hysterical.
on May 3rd, 2024, argument.
Objection.
I'm going to allow this.
You have to Google
I
it.
used
Young
argument.
power,
May I approach, Your Honor?
young power into the dragon, I think it's called. Into the fist.
Can I ask you to read your prior statement on page 10, line 9 through 13?
Nah.
Objection.
I'm going to see you at sidebar again and bring these documents.
That's
Please
hard.
bring all of it.
All right. Who here has watched Life of Brian? And there better be 7 hands.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember at the start of the movie, the baby rolls down the hill and stops on the road, and the lady picks up the baby and so cute, and then keeps throws it down the hill again, makes it keep rolling. Favorite Monty Python movie? Yeah.
And the Holy Grail.
I'm thinking I still like Life of Brian.
Well, Life of Brian's good, but there's always the Holy Grail as well. Don't forget the Knights of Knee.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's Brian.
But it's a flesh wound.
It's a mere flesh wound. All I said was this piece of alphabet was good enough for Jehovah. Oh, thank you.
He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
Naughty boy. I'll have 2 points of flat a pack of gravel. What double chips? Get away the rock. Lovely. Haven't seen it. It's not the Judean people's front. The people's front in Judea. Funny, man. How many of them are still alive?
3, I think.
You sure? Sorry, I wasn't mint.
I think 3 are still alive.
John Cleese.
John Cleese, Michael Palin, and I think there's one other.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm showing my age now, but who used to watch The Goodies? It was a TV show based in England. Jim Brooks Taylor, Graham Oddie, is it? No, Bill Oddie and Graham. Can't remember. Goodies, goody, yum, yum. And it always used to play here about 4:30, right before Doctor Who.
They're back.
Oh, Silly Walks. Bill Oddie, yes. Actually, have you heard his version of Wild Thing on The Goodies?
Yeah.
That was awesome. Wild Thing.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Sir, when you wrote the report of your notes to put in your report,
Oh,
do you remember
not
the word
apologies.
argument?
I did.
Do you remember her
Tanya?
actually saying the word argument?
I did.
I remember Jamison being, what, 12, 13, right? And we had all of the digital channels and shit that she could watch. And she's flicking through the thing going, there's nothing to watch on here. And whinging, right, with the 500 choices she had. And I said, okay, I'll choose you something. And I made her sit down and watch an episode of Monkey Magic. The next time you complain, I'm going to make you watch another one because that's what we had to watch. And they made a second series about 15 years ago. It was shit. Oh, Trimitaka. Yep. Sorry. You can go now. See, that was more entertaining than them. And the birds are go.
Do you remember her ever saying any word about voice messages?
I did not.
You said that there was somebody in the front seat of the car with
Was that you or me? Not me, I'm eating. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the defendant,
It was.
and you later learned from the defendant it was a person by the name of Kerry Roberts.
Correct.
Can you share with us the context? How did you learn that?
The defendant and my partner, firefighter Whitley, had a conversation.
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
So the defendant brought up how if her husband had died at the time, she didn't know how she was going to take care of his kids.
Objection.
I'm going to allow this.
And firefighter Whitley mentioned that she had like a strong support system. You know, all the friends are on Canton, and
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
My God. Oh, hang on. Power into the fist. They actually did subtitles for the dog. Wolf. David Carradine. You are the chosen one. Ah. Have you seen it, Dan?
Unfortunately, yes.
I think it's one of those ones that you really have to be ripped off your face. Apparently, allegedly.
Hey, you can't forget Australia's one contribution to the worldwide thing of TV.
Paul Hogan.
There's only one. Prisoner.
Ah, do you know?
The original, not the remake.
Yeah. I used to sit up and watch that at night. I think it was on after Dynasty. That's sad, isn't it? With the freak.
Yep.
They I live about a 4-minute walk from those recording studios.
What, the original ones?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I sure as shit do. Is that not right, Tanya? Where they record Neighbours and, well, not the actual street of Neighbours, but that's not far from here either. But yeah. Channel 9? I think it was Channel 9. They don't do much of it over there now, I don't think. Massive block, though. Favorite Chinese food? Is it Chinese Pacific or Asian? Because there is a massive difference.
We used to get so much of your crappy TV over here.
Well, we used to get like yours too, the bill.
Yeah. No,
Um,
nothing we ever sent you was as
Mhm.
bad as Neighbours or fucking Home and Away.
I don't watch either of them either. What did we get? The bill. There was another one on not Coventry Street. There's another soapy, I think. Benny Hill. Oh my god, I used to love Benny Hill. My dad used to watch that religiously. And then we used to have the Kenny Everett show after it. Money's Good has a no, that's far is Korean, isn't it? I love the boxes
When you
that you eat your
spoke to the
Chinese
defendant
food.
and she shared with you that her last words with her husband were an argument,
On the buses.
why didn't you ask for more detail about that?
I didn't feel it was my, at the time, we went about
Are
the
you being
call as
served, sir? I'm hungry.
we went about the call as that we didn't, think we would be witnesses in a murder trial. We were there to support Karen and ultimately get her to the hospital safely.
And you were asked about trauma, and you said that you observed that the person may be in trauma, Miss Reed.
A traumatic event,
Traumatic event.
Right.
Do you have any idea what caused that traumatic event?
I did not.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Anything?
Very quickly, you indicated that you were asked on redirect examination by Mr. Brennan whether earlier in the night could have been 12 or 12:15 a.m., correct?
That's what he asked, yes.
And earlier in the night could have been 6 o'clock p.m.
Early in the night, yeah, correct.
Could have been 5 o'clock p.m.
Could have been.
Could have been 7 o'clock p.m.
Sure.
Okay. You were also asked whether or not Ms. Reed actually specifically mentioned voicemails when she talked about those last words. And you said she didn't,
That I remember, correct.
but she did show you her phone.
She tried to.
And she did show you a bunch of missed calls to John Keefe, correct?
I wasn't going to look through her phone. I don't know who she called.
Thank you.
When she said about the argument, she said those were the last words, the argument, right?
That's correct.
Sustained. All right. Jurors disregard that last statement. All right, you are all set.
All right.
outside of that.
Thank you.
He says that
Is this a
every
good place
witness.
Thought for the day.
If the court pleases, yes.
Jurors, we could do 6 minutes, but I think this is probably a good place to start.
Woohoo!
So, as I understand it, folks, we're on schedule, right where we thought we would be. We're going to release you for today. Now, when I told you this morning, and I've told you other times too, that when you're out in that room waiting for us, we're in here getting work done to make things more efficient for the trial, especially a trial this long. We've decided that we're going to spend Monday afternoon again trying to streamline this trial and deal with issues that we have to deal with. So Monday for you will be a half a day. All right, so I just wanted to tell you that before you left today. Please, again, those 3 cautions: do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it, let us know. And I guess the 4th caution is the same as I've been saying. Please be very careful with your social media. All right, have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday morning.
What about your anti-social
And
media?
I'd like to see counsel at sidebar, please.
Oh, God.
Yep. Well, it's like it is 3:15 in the morning. I'm gonna have a little bit of leeway.
No.
I feel like fried rice now. Oh, this is Just like lunchtime for me. That's
Well,
what
I'm
it's
having
lunchtime for
rice,
America.
mixed vegetable, and lamb.
Uh-huh. I had I had crunchy nut cornflakes and peaches and a plum. A plum. Eat the plum, stink the bomb. Here's one I prepared earlier. Actually, no, I didn't. I don't think I put the whole. I'll get rid of that. I do like this though.
When you were being when you were being interviewed,
I mean, it is pointless, but it is funny.
Yeah. Yep. That was actually me asleep during a live stream. Now I mute myself every single time.
I've not managed to fall asleep in the live stream yet.
Well, it was only because I'd so I think it was the first one I did. Not first live stream, but I've sort of been transitioning the second half of the trial. I'd set myself up in my bed because I've got one of those electric beds that adjusts the head and the feet up. And it's like it's a queen size, but each side is like a large single. So it's got individual controls, and I've got my iPad stream out on it, and I can watch it. I can talk. I can make comments and chat. I can, whatever. I just can't stop or start the share screen. So when it's like a lunch break, I have to either get back up and fast forward it or wait for it. So it was the first time I'd actually laid down and was watching it because I've got the telly in there. So I have the telly on for the screen that's mounted up on the wall, and then I have the iPad so that I can type. Yeah, I must have just fallen asleep towards the end of a trial, and I must have let that trial run, I reckon, at least 2 or 3 hours. But there was, I think Teresa and Udahef, I think, was still there. And I think it was like that BBC screen, Oh, it was funny. But I was logging on to StreamYard as a guest. I didn't realize that you could actually log on through Safari. So now I can actually end the stream whilst I'm in bed. Good. Instead of having to get up and come back out here. All right, so plan?
Nothing till Monday.
Yep. Now, did they say half day Monday morning or Arvo?
Well, it's not half day for us. It's only half day for the jury.
Oh, that's what they're doing, the Vauderes, aren't they? Okay, yep, cool.
Yep.
Sweet. So, 0900 Eastern Standard on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I actually should. I tried to reach out to Steve a couple of times and I haven't heard back from him.
And if any of you think we're doing recaps of this shit over the weekend, go and fuck yourselves.
Well, I might have a live stream. Depends, because that's what we normally do. Is on the Saturday. I was going to do one every day, but it's going to be too much for me. There's no way I can do it. No fucking way. Maybe last year, but not this. No. It's not going to happen. So I'll just do brief ones as we go, and then we can do like the controversial one of the week analysis, like a deep dive, because he's got the same program as I do.
Trying to think. Yeah, there's been nothing controversial this week at all, except for the fact the defense sucks.
If I was to choose one this week to do, I'd probably do Kerry Roberts.
Hardly controversial.
Well, maybe controversial was the wrong word, but yeah.
There just hasn't been that much, really anything controversial or even interesting this week.
No, because they're laying foundation now.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, the defense has managed to make some stupid mistakes, but that's about it. That's all there's been this week.
Yeah.
I don't think they're catastrophic events, but they're just stupid, needless mistakes.
You know how to set up that what we were talking about the bingo card?
Huh? What? Who?
You know how you can do bingo cards that do certain things in the trial? So, like, design a bingo
Your
card.
mic is playing up. I have no idea what you're saying.
Stupid thing. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, the bingo cards where each card has something from the trial, like whether or not Judge Bev sighs into the microphone, or
I would rather cut off my left bollock with a jackhammer.
So that's a no. What about Poker Monday?
Oh, hell yeah, poker. Hello. I'm in.
Poker Monday lunch? 10?
Yeah, if we can set it up.
Oh, 10 can, no worries. Easy peasy. It's a ripper. You just need to tone it down to the dumbass level for me.
I mean, there is a distinct possibility if we're playing poker here that we may not come back for the rest of Monday's trial, but okay.
Well, we can still stream it and have it in the corner. Have the avatars up. It depends who's testifying. I still can't without a VPN, I can't get onto that court docket system. So I even tried it on my mobile, it wouldn't let me. Righto then. So I shall do my darndest to stay away from any wombats. You know what a wombat is, don't you?
Yep.
Someone who eats roots and leaves. And you lot over there, stay the fuck away from Hank Brennan. Ta-ra, love. Go and have yourself a couple of whilings. See you Monday.
It's been 12 months since acquittal, and so much has passed us by. Such a scattering with evidence, and some blatant flat-out lies. I bet he wears those silky undies, the ones with that chain made of lace. So you can bring in Massachusetts, 'cause we all ain't got no quit.